With a guy with a history of plagiarism, of exaggeration, don't you find it strange that he seems quite obvious in trying to take another one of the president's themes in 2016 and 2020, and that is to bring manufacturing back to this country and to build it here and to be cutting tougher trade deals, especially to the guy who brought China into the WTO, or at least supported it, and supported NAFTA while and the TPP while the president unwound that, even though the Republicans were kind of on the president for saying that's not really what we stand for, we're for free trade. Well, 4 years later, Joe Biden says, that sounds good to me. Listen.
I don't accept the defeatist view that the forces of automation and globalization mean we can't keep good paying union jobs here in America and create more of them. I don't buy for 1 second that the vitality of American manufacturing is a thing of the past. We have the most qualified workers in the world. American manufacturing is the old expression you heard your grandpop say and grandmother, was the arsenal of democracy in World War II. Well, guess what? It's going to be part of the engine of American prosperity now.
Which is pretty incredible. He's in Michigan, where he looks to have a secure lead, but he puts a bunch of cars behind him and a handful of people, and he says something he could have said in his basement. But the problem is, he says it's union workers. No one's anti-union, but if union wages are going to be the reason how we build cars, they're going to be too expensive to build here for Americans to buy them here. That's why so often people build it out of the country or picked right-to-work states in order to build them down south in North Carolina and South Carolina. So it's a disingenuous thing altogether, Steve.
Well, where he said, to bring back manufacturing jobs, you're going to need a magic wand. And when you look at the Obama numbers, you can understand why they felt that way. Because when the Obama-Biden administration took hold in January of 2009, there were, in this country, we've got a graphic, 12.6 million manufacturing jobs. Fast forward, look at that, 8 years later, there were 12,400,000. So in other words, they actually lost manufacturing jobs, whereas during this administration, somehow, apparently they found that magic wand because they added a bunch before the coronavirus. Nonetheless, Steve Cortez, one of the president's surrogates, feels that it's ironic that Mr. Biden is talking about bringing back jobs from China.
Yeah, the other thing, keep in mind, he had two major gaffes. It's 6, 7 people. Oh.
This is Steve
Here's the soundbite.
The gall of Joe Biden to go to the industrial heartland, to the state of Michigan, and promise that he's going to return jobs back from China. That is like an arsonist who burned down a village, returning to that town and promising the citizens of the town that he wants to be the fire marshal to protect them. Joe Biden spent a half century in the Washington swamp exporting American jobs all over the world. The one accomplishment of his half century in the Beltway is terrible trade deals, particularly NAFTA and China's inclusion in the WTO, which led, by the way, for the state of Michigan to the loss of a staggering 92,000 manufacturing jobs.
The numbers don't lie. And when you look at how many manufacturing jobs were lost during the Obama-Biden administration, 200,000 during their tenure. And that's why a lot of these blue-collar workers went to the polls to vote for Donald Trump, because he said, I'm going to bring companies back here to America, lowering the corporate tax.
Yeah.